save him. Shockwave was available. Now he gets pulled in. Daruin is in trouble. He will go down. Archie will follow. There's going to be Demeco once again locked up. Daruin is the focus. He was going to get pounced on. Will go down. Carbon on towards him. Archie the final target. That's the ace. Darker, no mana on him. Hecathian's surprised. Is it enough to take him down? Demeco tries to lock on towards him. Does not matter. It's a triple picked up.
Welcome back to the International Wildcard Qualifier. In our last match, Legacy Esports picked up a second win by taking down Russian Force. And it's a wildcard tournament, and these teams are wild. So much fighting going on again. And Carbon actually said it in the interview as well. We just like to fight. We just like to pick fights, even though sometimes we might do it too early. But in this one, it was all perfectly timed.
Yeah, well, pretty much from the start of the game, they just got a lead. Like, Darker died one-on-one in the mid lane. He fell very far behind to Choo-Choo's on Orianna. It was like 4-0 after, what, 10 minutes? And Russian Force simply, obviously because they have all these subs here, played much like a solo queue team, which was perfect for Legacy, simply because we will always be able to fight and just catch you out of position, which they did, and just kill them over and over and got a massive lead early on.
Yeah, for me, Darker didn't really look comfortable whatsoever in that mid lane. Seemed a little bit ropey, whether that's just nerves getting to him or whether he's just not all that familiar with having that mid lane role on him. I mean, Choo-Choo's been great both games now, but that last performance on Orianna, we saw, I mean, it was a death gap ahead of Darker, and once you skip that mid-game point on Orianna, it's just going to be a whole load of pain, and they didn't really look back, to be honest, once they got that lead.
Nope, and what I found very interesting from Legacy Esports as well, they now banned out the Alistar and Zillion themselves. They went for a new team comp, and they just had a plan totally ready, even for this team that they don't really know that much about, which I think was more comfort in this level than it was banning out things that they played, probably.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, first pick in Maokai is not really rocket science anymore. He is so strong. Orianna is always a safe blind pick for mid lane as well, so therefore it makes a lot of sense. And they just play the standard meta stuff, which we see all the time. So pick and ban wise, we can't really say too much. I mean, we know they like to play Shyvana from a Minky Whale and not a Milky Whale, like I said in their last one. We know he likes to play Shyvana. I would love to see Shyvana Orianna. It worked for them in the finals, but no reason to pick it yet. Maokai, whenever he's open, you pretty much lock him in every single time. So the comp they had didn't even matter because they simply dominated Russian Force so hard, and just from the start. Only issue maybe was the fact they did the same level 1, which actually meant they had to flash away from the red buff because they once again like lane swapped and invaded red buff, and Russian Force were ready for it. So maybe they have to be careful they didn't like follow the same pattern every single time, but they just looked so dominant.
Things to be careful for, possibly overconfidence there. We heard it was almost too easy, which I think is a dangerous statement to make halfway through the day when, you know, even if they do manage to win today, there's still that best of 5s and a lot can happen overnight. So I think they need to be a little bit wary of that one until they actually win that best of 5, if they get that far. Don't want to get overconfident halfway through the first day.
I agree, because again, Immunity last year, out the gates, very strong day 1, and then they kind of faltered. So hopefully they don't make the same mistakes as they want to make it on. Now, at the start of the show, we asked you which international wildcard team do you think will win the spot for Worlds and why? And here are some of your answers. The first one is from @ItsExon. I think Team Legacy will win this wildcard tournament. Their communication and team fighting is a force to be reckoned with.
Well, that's pretty much what we've seen in the first 2 games. As soon as they get to team fights, they just completely destroy the other teams. They know how to play it, the comps are built around it really well. So at the moment, easy enough to say they are. They look like the favorites. I did have Dark Passage as my favorite before we started here because of the experience they had, and I felt like as a team they've been looking very good this year. But Legacy's really surprised me, and at the moment they deserve to be 2-0.
Second one is from @PureMetallica. DP improved themselves in Turkish Grand Finals once again. They will dominate every game and buy a ticket to Worlds. Now, they haven't dominated every game yet, but I certainly think that there's room for them to still step up.
Well, to be fair, they've only played 1 game, so there's still quite a way to go. This next game obviously is going to be the real test, with both teams at 0-1 after losing games to Legacy. So this next game will really show us who's, right now it looks like, in contention for that second position.
And also remember the game against Legacy from Dark Passage. They had a very good start, got a goal lead. As long as they don't take these bad team fights and get some wards down on the map, actually in the mid to late game, they might be able to beat Legacy. So in that case, the next game we're gonna have, if Dark Passage beats Russian Force now, is gonna be pretty much the final going into this one here, and that's gonna be very exciting.
Very exciting indeed. The last one is from @RockerOnX, obviously Legacy Esports, because Aussie, oi, oi, oi. Any comment?
Pastry time.
Pastry time. Shout out to Pastry Time there from the Fisho. Well, thank you guys for sending those to us. And remember, you can keep tweeting about your favorite wildcard teams with @LOL Esports throughout the tournament. Now we're ready for our next match, so let's head back over to D-Man and Quickshot.
Thank you, Shox. And let's not forget about Papa Smithy as well. He's always alongside him. So we're on to game 3 in the International Wildcard Round Robin, as Russian Force will be taking on Dark Passage. And after losing at Gamescom last year, Dark Passage has been singularly focused on returning for another shot at the International Wildcard. Now, they are back and looking to ride their momentum all the way to Worlds.
We are here for Wildcard International Tournament and we are gonna win.
If we win the wildcard tournament, we go to Worlds. It will be pretty amazing. Yeah.
Evet, çünkü geçen sene kaybettik, bu sene kazanmak istiyoruz. Kaybetme sebebimiz AD carry'mizin olmamasıydı, yaşı tutmadı ve bu yüzden takım sinerjisi tam oturmadığı için sıkıntı yaşadık.
Yeah, I couldn't play at Gamescom because I was 16 and I got really upset, to be honest.
I had a penta, so I was happy.
I wish I could have played last year. Now I'm really ambitious about this and I really want to win the Gamescom.
At Turkish finals, it was really wonderful. The area was really like shining and stuff. It was really incredible to play at this stage. And we won, so we were really happy.
Sanırım dünyada geçirdiğim en heyecanlı gün oydu. Çok güzeldi. Çoğunlukla anlatılamaz.
It was really awesome. Crowd was awesome. They were cheering up for us and the older team. And when we won the tournament, I was really happy about that.
2014 Türkiye League of Legends şampiyonu Dark Passage, yolları açık olsun.
Türkiye şampiyonası kazanmak bizim için bir başarıydı. Ama sene boyunca bütün çalışmalarımız Wildcard içinde, Gamescom içinde.
If we go to Worlds, that will be really success for the Dark Passage for us.
And honestly, I feel they've put a lot of pressure on themselves, and there is a lot of pressure from the Turkish community as well, because they have dominated the scene throughout this year.
Unquestionably the strongest team out of their region, but they are once again in a situation where they have a sub for the international wildcard. Trelbiani is serving for military in the country, and it meant Touch had to join him. Now, Touch does have experience with the players, but when you're not winning the tournaments on LAN in your native language, I mean, you heard some guys speaking Turkish, some guys speaking English, it does create some disjoints and some dysfunction. We'll see if they can overcome their problems.
We'll see how it works out for them, of course. In our last match, well, we just saw Russian Force get taken apart by Legacy Esports. But Dark Passage, well, they put up much more of a fight in their first match.
Yeah, they really did. So in the previous game, I want to talk about Darker. He is playing the mid lane. It is a position that he does not, he has not played at this level before, and he really struggled. Choo Choo's completely outclassed in 1v1, and he's going to need to step up if he wants to try and handle himself against Naru. On the other side, for Dark Passage, Holy Phoenix was the man that I was touting as the hard carry, the man that couldn't be here last year. Got a bit of Khal Drogo blood in him, I feel, and wasn't able to summon the power of the Horde because he had little to no impact. 0, 2, and 8 on an AD carry that got, what was it, 88 kills in 9 games? That's simply not good enough to help your team pick up wins.
Yeah, didn't step up to it, and of course, maybe, who knows, by using the Lucian, well, he's going to switch the picks on this one, and we expect him to go with something else. We've seen him playing a lot of Jinx throughout solo queue.
I think they have to change. Jinx, Tristana, Kog'Maw, it's hyper carry meta at the moment. Corki worked as well because he had damage to supplement the rest of his engage, and Corki still shines fantastically in the laning in the mid game. But I just don't think that Lucian is currently the strongest AD carry pick.
We'll see how it works out for them. Let's check out the 2 lineups for these teams. Starting out on the blue side, it is a Russian Force. That means AT Remains is in the top lane, Demeka in the jungle, Darker in the mid lane, Ruin is AD carry, and Archie on support.
And on the red side, it is Dark Passage with Fabulous in the top lane, Crystal M in the jungle, Naru in the mid lane, Holy Phoenix is the AD carry, and Touch playing the support role.
So all week you've been predicting how the matches will turn out. So far, 73% of you think that Dark Passage will take this vote. And once again, they are leading the votes. The question is, can they win the game?
They didn't win it when they had the popular vote against Legacy earlier, but they did win the early game. They were in control in the mid game. And like Deficio pointed out, poor warding and bad team fight choices ended up costing them against Legacy. We need to see if they do the same thing against Russian Force, because Russian Force didn't get to a chance where they could team fight. They were completely controlled and completely obliterated. And if you go by the thing, both teams have lost to Legacy, but Dark Passage did better than Russian Force. In theory, they should be the stronger team in this match.
Dark Passage were 5,000 gold ahead at one point and then managed to let it turn around. They were 4-1 up in turrets as well. So it was a great start for them. Let's see if they can do the same again. Of course, Russian Force. I'm wondering, Darker versus Naru. Naru played very, very well in the first game. Despite that loss, he was way ahead against Choo Choo's.
Yeah, I think so too. I'd like to see if the Xerath is the champion he goes to once more. But something that we have noticed between all of these teams is the fact that Nidalee has been taken off the table every single time. Nobody wants to deal with that Nidalee at all.
We'll work out how it goes. As you mentioned, Nidalee taken away, as is the cow. Not going to let that one through. And Maokai, so going to see maybe a different top laner coming out here. Fabulous played Renekton last time around. Will we see an Aurelia come through? Rengar banned out. Didn't work very well against Russian Forces. They didn't appreciate that one. Demekker, of course, playing that Elise and just getting caught out by Carbon's Rengar every step of the way.
So Lee Sin was also a ban that was targeted towards Dark Passage by Legacy. Let's see if Russian Force want to take that off the table. Mid laners are still up. Kassadin is still up. Xerath is still up, as well as the likes of Elise, obviously. Once again, taking their time. A couple seconds on the clock, and Russian Force, their final ban, going to be the Morgana. So taking a support off the table with Morgana gone, with Alistair gone. Nami is still available. Thresh is still available, despite the fact we haven't seen him. And obviously Leona. So we need to see what champions Archie or Touch are going to be playing.
See whether they go towards it. Final ban from Dark Passage coming up. Is it going to be mid lane focus? They've let a lot through. It is Braum, so a lot of focus on the supports. Will Russian Force choose to first pick one, or do they feel one of the AD carries? Maybe Tristana has been banned out in the last 2 games. It is going to be Nami, so a lot of focus on that support position.
Yeah, very much so. Archie did play a lot of Nami going into the Star Ladder qualifiers for this international qualifier. So he's got a lot of experience on the champion, and when you consider a lot of the other sort of primary supports off the table, it means Touch needs to look at what support he wants to run. Braum, Nami, Morgana, those are his mains as well, but Leona's still up, Thresh is still up, so we'll see if he goes for one of the more standard picks or if he pulls something out that's a little more oddball. I mean, we've seen Gragas support by N-rated in SK. Despite the fact that he has been nerfed in 4.13, I still feel he's relevant in the support role if you want him for that disengage.
Well, speaking of 4.13 changes, we also see Lee Sin coming through. We haven't seen a great deal of him so far on this patch because of that change. He's not, well, he will still go for the AD carry, but he's not going to be as effective. He hasn't got that attack speed debuff that he used to have on him. And of course, alongside him is Fabulous on Aurelia.
And I also think the fact that shield duration is lower is very impactful as well, especially at the early stages of the game. So in terms of trading, in terms of, you know, protection, it is something that is a little bit more difficult to deal with. So dive buddies on the side of Dark Passage with that Aurelia, with that Lee Sin.
Kha'Zix and Ziggs again for Darker. Sticking with it, despite the fact he didn't work out all too successful in the previous matchup. Kha'Zix was the pickup for the jungle. That means it is going to be Thresh Tristana. It is a strong, strong lane, which I'm pretty sure means we're going to see Kog'Maw coming out from Russian Force.
And you've got a lot of picks now coming on the side of Dark Passage. If Thresh lands a death sentence, if Fab jumps in and finds a target, if Lee Sin manages to jump in and kick somebody backwards, there's a lot of single target focus and damage that can come down. But I also like the fact they've got Peel, they've got Disengage. Thresh, Lee Sin, Tristana can all protect and get rid of any threat at any time. So there's a lot of versatility on the side of Dark Passage's comp.
Well, change around for Russian Force. They're going to go with Shyvana in the top lane. First one of the tournament. Someone that did sneak through the whole way through pick and ban phase. Kassadin on the cards. Will Neru choose to go with that one, the final pick?
It would really fit Dark Passage's composition. You've got mobility, you've got dashing, you've got single target focus, and you've got a lot of scaling. The longer this game goes, the more I think I prefer Dark Passage's composition. But the one thing Dark Passage does not want to get involved in the early or the mid game is big team fights with the Russian force. Shyvana, Ziggs, and Nami are a pain to deal with because of their AoE, because of the disruption that they can cause. So if multiple members of Dark Passage jump in and AT Remains is able to zone them away with his Dragon's Descent and Archie can kick somewhere away with a Tidal Wave, that can be how Russian force win the team fights, but they need to find coordination they did not have against Legacy.
We'll see how it works out for them. Dark Passage, as you mentioned, they seem to have a nice team comp. Russian force kind of stuck. It's fairly similar in the team comp, despite, of course, the champion changes. We'll see how Shyvana works out for AT Remains. Of course, played Lulu in the last one. That's the major big change for me between these two teams.
Yeah, it really is. The playstyle is also going to be quite different. You don't really have a sort of protect the Cogmore comp now for Russian force. I do feel you've got more of a
problem against the
team fight, exactly. And the problem is, the moment that Cogmore's out of position, he's going to get dove on by so many threats on the side of Dark Passage. We need to see if they're on the right page. They've got more tools to actually use a 5k gold lead if they can generate it.
A lot of pressure on Archie to protect that Cogmore. Can he land the Aqua Prisons? Can he land the waves in the right place? Do you guys at home still feel confident about your vote? Of course, it was 76% of you went for Dark Passage first. Hashtag RF win for Russian Force and DP win for Dark Passage, and send that to @LOL Esports, of course, and we'll see whether the numbers have changed.
I think I like Dark Passage's team composition, but I do feel if they pick bad team fights like they did earlier in the day, then Russian Force have the ability to actually win team fights thanks to a lot of AoE and a lot of control that they can put down.
So here we go, ladies and gentlemen, about to get underway. It is Russian Force starting off as the blue team this time around. Of course, they went for that invade. They got themselves 3 buffs in the previous matchup. Dark Passage, meanwhile, also had a good start against the Australian Legacy.
Look at Dark Passage.
They're going to go face each other. Ooh.
Look at Dark Passage.
Close.
They've actually reacted to what Russian Force did at level 1 in the previous game. Dark Passage have instantly grouped themselves up on their red side jungle to try and counter the invade that Russian Force did in their first game of the day. So I quite like the thinking, but it doesn't look like they're setting up for a fight yet. Russian Force slightly tighter grouped. If a death sentence connects, we could have a fight going up, but look at Touch. He's going to ward instead of looking to pick up a fight.
Well, yeah, Touch is going to sneak around. Buddy spotted. They know that he's there. Demeka goes in. Oh, Crystal M jumping on towards Demeka. Demeka have to flash out there, but now they're opposite directions. Daeroon tries to put some damage down. Dark Passage will back away from this one. That was a summoner spell burnt by the jungler, and that's an important one for Kha'Zix.
Another time Demeka is out of position. I mean, he was punished for it very, very heavily against Legacy just 1 game ago, and he was around the corner from his team, gets soloed out and takes a whole bunch of damage. So we'll see if Crystal M can counter jungle and look to punish Demeka not having his flash. But we need to wait for the game to settle. Buffs haven't even spawned yet, and we've got another level 1 sort of drama going on between these teams.
So it looks like we're going to get a 4-0 coming out of Russian Force. Don't think Dark Passage are looking to do the same. They will maybe react. Of course, Fabulous is going to see that he's in a 2v1 situation any second. They're waiting in the bush. They're not going for this one. They're trying to catch him out here. Instead, they've decided they're impatient and they want last hits.
And if Russian Force go for that 4v1 or the tower dive, they've got significantly less CC this time around. Previously, they had Elise and Lulu. So the Cocoon, the Glitter Lance, the Munchkin, it makes tower diving much, much stronger. And this time around, it's not going to work out. But Dark Passage may be losing their red buff. They simply didn't anticipate the lane swap and the lane swap invade.
Yeah, they weren't expecting a 4-0 despite the aggression the Russian Force showed early on. There's the red buff going. We can see immediately Fabulous responding. He's going to join Crystal M in the jungle, and they are making the move towards the red buff themselves. So they're going to try and counter on this one.
Ends up being a trade if Crystal M and Fab can secure this without any cost. But it's the second time that we're seeing the Cogmore Nami lane being avoided by their avoiding the 2v2, actually. This time around, it's actually Daeroon and Archie that moved top lane. I feel like they were anticipating a lane swap, but didn't manage to find it because, again, Nami Cogmore very, very strong, and Holy Phoenix and Touch, they're just going to be farming their way up. It looks like Holy Phoenix is freezing the lane. He's been left alone, and now Darker's in trouble once more.
Gets caught out, managing to get his explosive Satchel down. Satchel charge was enough to launch him away, along with the flash though. So flash traded for flash there between Touch and Darko, but Darko is the more important because now, with Elise in roaming out there, with Naru, as soon as he hits level 6, that's not going to be available before he hits 6. He can just riff walk on him. I
actually think the flashes are much more valuable on the side of Russian Force because of the fact that Dark Passage is so mobile, because Touch can, you know, chase with the death sentence. 80 Remains is just teleported in, and this is 3v1.
That's a 3v1. That's a dangerous position. I think he should be safe, but again, another flash burn from 80 Remains.
Okay, so 80 Remains is doing a good job, Crystal M is doing a good job roaming around the map. He's getting summoner spells down, and oh my word, we'll talk in a second. Touch caught out.
Face check from Touch there. He didn't know there was a ward there. Oh, look at that. Holy Phoenix pounces out towards him. He gets first blood on Demeka. 80 Remains with no flash available. Should be able to get away, but the slow comes out. Holy Phoenix pounces out towards him, gets himself the double, and that is a tragic start for Russian Force.
A double kill, double buff Tristana for Holy Phoenix. Which Tristana is notoriously falling off in the mid game, and that's just going to help him out so much as Fab gets shredded in the top lane. I don't really know why Demeka and 80 Remains were looking for a fight there. It was clear it was going to be a 2v3, and Dark Passage just responded very well. Instantly pounced on them, and that's all we said. The flashes are worth more on the Russian Force. The moment Dark Passage jump on you, if you don't have that flash to get away, they have a flash to follow up if necessary. In that situation, it wasn't even needed.
And a BF sword bought 5 minutes in by Holy Phoenix. That is a big problem in that lane, and it looks like they are going to return to the bottom, so they want to continue that pressure. Fabulous happy to 2v1 it out in this top lane, of course. He is only at level 3 right now, so he's going to take some pressure. Hasn't got that wave clear that he gets at level 6, but I think he's safe for now.
Yeah, we'll see how he farms up, but the one thing I do want to highlight, Darka in the mid lane as Ziggs is behind on CS to Naru. Now, again, you have to remember that Darka did lose his flash very early on, and at this level, the competitive level, when you don't have that summoner spell, you do play far more passive, especially when you're coming up against a Lee Sin, a Kassadin, etc. But good job for Naru. He's built himself up a CS lead in a matchup that is actually notoriously difficult for Kassadin, and it just bodes very well for the Turkish squad.
Yeah, Russian Force are in a little bit of trouble after this start, honestly. Getting a Tristana going that
I think they want to tower dive.
A lot of pressure on towards that tower. Fabulous now. Acropus catches on towards him. Demeka jumps in, but again, they've not got enough damage to finish him off. And now Fabulous has the support of Crystal M just waiting off of the side there. It's not going to work out for them, and again, they have to back off.
No, it hasn't been a good day for Daewoo, and he was the one tanking the tower. So, lost all of his HP, and he was the one looking for the kills, but it doesn't look like it's over. 3v2. Here comes Demeka. I think he's going in, D-Man.
Flashes on towards it. They didn't take the tower down. Demeka's tanking the whole thing. They just needed the last hit, and instead, it's going to turn around in their favor. Finally, they get the tower. Daewoo is going to focus on towards Crystal M. He's running, though. Elysian is very slippery. He could Sonic Wave straight back to Daewoo and get on towards it. He wants to get on towards the tower. Not quite enough. That may well slow him down. He will drop, and that was a flash burn. So Daewoo finally turns it around and gets himself 2 kills of his own.
Yeah, very well played. The 2 kills and the tower is going to allow Russian Force to close the gold lead. But while all of that's going on, we just caught a glimpse of Holy Phoenix and Touch. With that BF sword, he's on an inner turret at 7 minutes on the clock. Holy Phoenix and Touch are about to run into trouble as both 80 Remains and Demeka are here. And the way Demeka's been playing, I think he's going to leap on top of Holy Phoenix's head.
Sure as hell he does, but he just turned around in the distance. He has got a pounce to get away from this one. There's the shield comes out. Oh, Death Sentence not quite landing on 80 Remains. Will catch the minion, and it will force Dark Passage to back away. So just 700 gold separating these two teams so far. Very close, very aggressive start from both teams.
Yeah, Demeka does not seem to have a hesitation button. Anytime there's a champion available, he appears to just want to go. And first item pickup for Naru on Kassadin is a Medjay Soul Stealer. If there was ever a more confident build, that's it. And don't get me wrong, Dark Passage have started off well, but you do not have the massive lead to guarantee you're going to get gold efficiency from that item. So we'll keep an eye on him and see how aggressive he can play if he can find those stacks.
Well, now that it hit 6, Rift Walk is available. Force Pulse is straight on towards him, and Darka gets a bit of a burst damage on towards him. There is a minion wave pushing in towards him though, so he's going to have to deal with that before he goes aggressive. But Dark Passage looking to make some plays, pushing down towards that bottom. There's a lot of minion wards, a lot of wards from Russian Force, though. They have full good vision of this bottom half. So they're well aware of the danger. So Daeruin and Archie will not get caught out by Dark Passage this time around.
Yeah, we need to see how that affects them, despite the fact... Oh, they've caught Daeruin!
Oh, they've gone straight for it anyway. Daeruin got out of position, the Ignite burning. Touch goes in and finishes that one off. Rocket jumps away. Holy Phoenix chasing on towards Archie. I'm not sure they've got enough to slow him down. Crystal M wanted to catch on towards him, but instead they can turn and go straight towards that dragon.
A BF sword and a pickaxe versus a cutlass. And I think Touch actually landed the death sentence there to kick off the initiation. So very, very well played by Touch to set up his teammates. Dark Patches have started Dragon. Mega Inferno Bomb is available, and a blue buff is there for Darker. Let's see if we can get some damage down. Dark Passage are low, and I think Wisely are backing away.
Oh, but Naru goes in towards that one. Good damage on towards Darker. Turns it around. Satchel Charge goes down. Simply just bounces him where he stands, but they haven't got the damage to follow through on this one. So Neki Soul Stealer start from Naru.
Yeah, very, very smart play from Dark Passage to back away. Despite the fact that we're looking for the engage. Naru now, he's going in again.
He wants the damage, he wants to get a kill, and Darker may well gift it to him if he keeps this up. But Russian Force, they are turning things around. They are starting the dragon off, despite the fact there's a pig ward there. Teleport coming in. That's going to be Fabulous jumping on towards Demeka straight away, but he's tanking up the dragon. There's 4 members around him. What an insane move. It didn't work out towards him. Now Darker's in trouble. Can he turn this one around? Flashes through. Naru cannot follow, but they're stuck in the dragon pit. In comes Touch, in comes Crystal. They need the AD carry there. Demeka comes around side. Naru gets himself the kill. Can clean up now. Gets himself a second. Comes on towards Archie. Can they pounce on towards him? It will be 3. No, it's a double kill as well for Holy Phoenix. And that is a cleanup for Dark Passage. A 4-4-0. A 4-for-1 technically.
A double plus Magi stacks. That is definitely something that Dark Passage will be happy with. You have to question Fabulous. He decided to teleport in with absolutely no support. 1v4, he instantly gets taken down. And of course, because of the fact that Russian Force took so much damage over the course of the prolonged Dragon engage, it was a super simple cleanup on the side of Dark Passage. I think with that double kill, Holy Phoenix should have enough money to finish his Infinity Edge at 10.5 minutes, which is ridiculous. And of course, Naru has got himself 5 stacks on his Magi, so he's 1 or 2 away from making that gold efficient. Very, very strong start. Dark Passage with a 2,000 gold lead, despite the fact they lost Dragon. They're winning the team fights, and they're looking to get those kills to push for further objectives.
Yeah, fantastic start, Dark Passage. Finally, are they starting to live up to the hype? But again, it's a very aggressive game. A 4-0-1 Infinity Edge almost completed. Naru, of course, it's 8 stacks, I believe it is, that makes it cost efficient, that kicks in there. Has got that needlessly large rod as well now, so the damage is going to start building. It's always a big danger when you let a Kassadin through, and again, they're going on towards him. It's a 3v1, tricky situation. They're going to try and turn this one around. Naru goes down. There goes the stacks. That's going to get cut in half. Crystal M now, he has to use the kick. Good kick catching out towards Daeruin. Demeka taking some damage, but that just proves a little bit of overconfidence potentially coming out of Dark Passage.
Yeah, underestimating the fact that Demeka was potentially there, and Naru's going to lose some of those stacks, so he's down to 3 after that death. We do see Daeruin doing the best that he can to take down the tower, while Holy Phoenix will be securing the 3rd tower of the game in favor of Dark Passage. He's yet to back, by the way, sitting on about 1,1700 gold at this exact moment in time. And we should see him picking up another big item spike. Holy Phoenix was the man that I was looking at to carry Dark Passage, and with the early double kill, double buffs, he's definitely snowballing an advantage. Look at the pressure Holy Phoenix and Touch is putting on the map. They push bottom to inner turret, and now they're pushing top to inner turret.
Yeah, and that bottom inner turret took a hell of a beating as well, so they've got to be careful of that one, that nobody sneaks around. Instead, he's going to keep pushing the top there. Remember, the Mega Inferno Bomb is available for Darker. They really need to clear this wave. Death Sentence lands. 80 remains. Bounces. Mega Inferno Bomb could follow. Touch and Holy Phoenix in trouble here. Aqua Prison landing nicely, but they're going to pounce on 80 remains. They will find him. It's Touch that gets the kill. Less than ideal, but nonetheless, a kill's a kill.
Yeah, and I really like the Lantern escape by Holy Phoenix as well. Even gets him out of range of that Mega Inferno Bomb. The rest of Dark Passage seem to be joining around this middle lane. And the way this game has gone, they've just picked five. Fab, he's surrounded, he's gone in once again.
I don't know why he went onto the minion there, but instead they will get the kill. Demeka's going down. Fab does get that kill. Well, he calculated it.
We questioned it. He proved us both wrong.
Absolutely.
Jumped into the middle at 3, but yeah, the level of aggression in this game, it feels like the Aussies have worn off on Dark Passage and Russian Force because they're going all in all the time. CS advantage is actually pretty even across the board, with the exception being Fab. He's got himself a 20 CS lead. Does equate to about a single kill, and Dark Passage still slowly growing their lead. 3,000 gold, still a tower up. Dragon should be up in a minute or two, and Daeruin might be in trouble. I think Holy Phoenix might go for this.
Good ward. It catches him out, but now he's caught between a rock and a hard place. Will they go towards it? Oh, the flame misses, but the death sentence lands on Archie. Holy Phoenix needs to get involved in this one. He's got himself an Infinity Edge and a Zeal. Exhaust goes down, touch taken low though. He's going to have to flash away. Is it going to be enough? Holy Phoenix flashes for it, gets the reset. Rocky jumps out. Absolutely fantastic stuff, but will he get caught out now? He will. That's enough to slow him down, and that gives the kill to Daeruin.
And that's a flash and heal burned from Daeruin. So well played by Holy Phoenix, manages to come away 1 for 1. But if you look at the summoner spells blown, Touch and Phoenix both flashes versus all 4 summoner spells on the side of Russian Force. So the next time that Dark Passage jump in, because you sure as hell know that they will, they are going to have a slight summoner spell advantage with the heal being on the side of Holy Phoenix. But it's just madness, D-Man. They are just looking for kills left, right, and center. And, well, that's what we expected. That's what Dark Passage's comp does well.
Daeruin a million miles out of position right now with Demeka alongside him. I think Touch and Holy Phoenix is just going to go straight in for this one. Yes, they are. Touch is moving straight in there. They fancy it. They realize that Demeka's off the side. They don't know who else is there. Oh, Death Sentence lands. That is Daeruin going down. Holy Phoenix will get on towards that one. Demeka now takes himself 2 tower hits. Stealths up, but they're going to chase on this one. They're going to get the revenge kill, and it's another double for Holy Phoenix.
While all of that is going on, the rest of Dark Passage appear to be pushing this mid lane. They've got a minion wave to work with, and they've got a bunch of auto attackers. The minion wave does get cleared out. Now Fab, once again, surrounded. Well, not surrounded, but he's got a couple of numbers in his advantage. But look at the level difference. Level 10 to AT remains level 8. Russian Force just seem to be being outclassed here today, D-Man.
Absolutely. Dark Passage happy to brawl every step of the way. They've just both faced the Aussies, both came out with a loss, but this was a brilliant death sentence.
What I really like about how the death sentence connected is Holy Phoenix actually killed the minion that allowed Touch to land the death sentence. And that's something I feel that doesn't come with communication. I mean, yes, you could say, hey, I'm going to kill the minion, go now. But when you know that Holy Phoenix and Touch have been duo queuing and solo queue for, you know, around 12 months, it's just very good synergy between the duo of Dark Passage, and it's something we didn't really see come to light in Game 1. And Holy Phoenix is going to champion into a lot more with.
They're collapsing on towards him. Naru's just baiting them all in because they're all coming from the river. Demeka's going to get focused on. He will go down eventually, but he does manage to get himself 1 and 2 kills there. Now Daeruin focused on. He will drop as well. RT remains going straight in. That's a triple. Will it be a quad? No, it's not going to be quite. Crystal M steals the day and will not give me a damn pentakill. It's just a quadra. Holy Phoenix.
Unbelievable. Every single time Dark Passage get engaged upon, they seem to turn this one around. They get an ace for 2, despite the fact that Naru, well, he fully baited that. I mean, he was forcing or saying to Russian Force, I dare you to dive. Dark Passage going to get themselves their 5th tower of the game and push the minion waves in probably the bottom lane, and Dragon's available to them if they want to as well. Infinity Edge plus Static Shiv. There's very little that can deal with Holy Phoenix at this stage. Look how quickly Dark Passage collapse. They managed to come from the sidelines, and Touch lands, I think, 3 death sentences during the course of that fight from start to finish. Very, very well played indeed.
And it just showed, you know, that Cassidy obviously picked, snuck in there as the last choice, but that wasn't the focus. We talked about Holy Phoenix, and this time around it is working out. He's 11-1-3 right now. Russian Force is starting out the Baron, and this is a big risk. But look at Dark Passage. They are way out of position, charging up the river. Have they got the damage to take it down quick enough, though? I got a feeling they're going to get the Baron and just be all so low on hit points that they're just going to get massacred by Dark Passage. Fabulous waiting. Demeka gets caught down. There is the Baron picked up, and now Dark Passage move in. 1 goes down. Russian Forces pick themselves up 2 kills. Holy Phoenix follows through. Doesn't get the reset of Demeka, so he can't clean up, and they make it away. Cassidy comes in though. Naru gets himself 1 kill. The rest of the team trying to chase around. Russian Forces running away from this one. They should be free, and they've got the Baron.
2 for 1 in favor of Russian Forces. It's not over yet. Here comes Holy Phoenix.
They're going to catch on towards him. He rides the wave and just about gets out. They don't follow through on that one. Acropris and Daeruin Naru still fancies it.
No, he really does, and we'll see if he can jump on anybody. One thing to note, Holy Phoenix jumped into the pit, was trying to get the back of the pit, was trying to get auto attacks onto Demeka, and I think he was on attack move because he attacked a ward as opposed to the champion, because of course he had his own pink ward then. 2 for 1, desperate Baron from Russian Force, but they make it count. We did see Naru engaging drips and drabs, and because of the fact that Dark Passage did not have the numbers to go into the pit, they obviously lose the ensuing team fight as well.
So far, it is pretty wild, to say the least. 19 minutes in, 28 kills. It's definitely an aggressive game, this one. The International Wildcard is absolutely delivering on the matches so far. They have been fantastic. If you've just joined us, we've already seen Legacy Esports taking down both Dark Passage and Russian Forces. They are now 2-0 leading this. It is a round-robin stage, so there are 6 matches to play today. Everybody plays each other twice, and Russian Forces right now desperately keeping themselves in the game against Dark Passage. That was Smite stolen away by Crystal M. Dark Passage hit and run. Yeah,
we see Russian Force looking for a fight, but look, while blue buff is the focus, Holy Phoenix is just getting a bunch of free damage onto the bottom tower.
Thank you very much. You're going to wipe out the wave, but I may well wipe out the tower before you do it. Oh, I think he's going to just about get away. Next wave will come in, that tower will go down. They're still only just reacting to it.
Very, very so. Russian Force a little afraid to get caught up. This is now 2v3 in Holy Phoenix. He does have flash, he does have heal.
He's got caught out there, has to back away. The wave catches on towards him, it should be enough. Oh, Aqua Prison was coming in. The rest of the Dark Passage are going to react to this one. You can see just Naru and Darker making their way to join them in the jungle. There's not a great deal of vision in there for Russian Forces. This is a dangerous, dangerous choice to follow through.
To quote Moscow 5 from a few years ago, see hero, kill hero. That is the entire description of this game. There is very little calculated forethought, I feel, in terms of the engages, because the moment somebody presents themselves, either of these teams just jump in absolutely haphazardly. For the note, Holy Phoenix is yet to back in a while. He's sitting on 3,800 gold. So of the team's 6k gold lead, nearly 4,000 of that is in unspent gold in Holy Phoenix. We'll see what he eventually picks himself up when he does decide to back, because for the time being, Dark Passage lose another tower, and Holy Phoenix is continuing to farm.
Well, they seem happy to just let that one go. They knew they couldn't defend it. Holy Phoenix made no attempt to come down and help. He is going to back off. He's got 4,000 gold on him. We'll see what he goes with. Impression, pretty sure it's going to be
I would have thought Blade of the Ruined King personally, but Touch got caught.
Touch getting bounced on. He uses his ultimate. That bomb will rattle through. They get themselves one. They're pushing on towards the inner turret now. Russian Forces in full force. The Baron buff's still on them, remember. It's got 30 seconds remaining, but the wave gets wiped out. That's a lot of damage on Demeka there. Naru may well feel fancy and he can follow through on towards it. David tries to go head-to-head with Holy Phoenix. Not the right choice there, as he's just been back to buy. Got himself a chunk of damage, and now Russian Forces are running. Riftwalk available for Naru in just a second. Will he catch on towards him? It's Darker, he catches out. Gets the slowdown on him. Holy Phoenix goes aggressive. Is it going to be enough? He needs a reset. He's not going to get it, and he gets picked off. Trades with Darker, and it's just another 1 for 2.
Crystal M had his ultimate available and did not jump in there to try and knock some of the threats away. Didn't have a lot of energy to play with either, but Dark Passage again, just chasing. Dayruin got 3-shotted by Holy Phoenix. The Bloodthirster IE as well as Static Shiv just melted his hit points. And as long as Holy Phoenix is in the right position, he's going to melt through everybody. There's a Giant's Belt on AT Remains as far as his tanky stats goes. If you look at Demeka, he's got a Ruby Crystal. That's what you're relying on. There is so little armor and defensive stats on Russian Force that Holy Phoenix should be able to just melt through absolutely anybody he sets his sights on. But he needs to just avoid being jumped on by Kha'Zix and Shyvana, because they can burst him down as well.
Yeah, there's a full damage to Kha'Zix as well, but Demeka himself those wings evolve now. Level 12, we'll see if he chooses to pounce in again. It's another gathering in the mid lane. They're going to see where the Holy Phoenix fancies his chances. He's at 12, 2 and 5 right now, working well for him. Them explosive shots starting to do some serious damage, wiping out those waves very quickly. Demeka now moving down the river. Everyone from Dark Passage making their way to Dragon.
Dragon 20 seconds away. Dark Passage have got a very, very big lead when it comes to the potential team fights, but in order for them to win, they have to blow up a damage threat quickly. They have to get rid of Darker, Dayrun, or probably Demeka early on. And now Crystal Lemon Touch a little out of position.
Jumps on towards him, Demeka gets flayed. Fabulous jumps towards him. He wants to get locked up there. Puts the shield down, feels he can tank this one through. The wave completely missing. Oh, Holy Phoenix jumps around the side. The exhaust is on, but only for so long. Archie gets taken down. He gets the reset, comes in towards him. It's a support for support, and it's the damage dealers going in. Riftwalk, force ball straight on towards him. Double kill, triple kill. Goes in towards Darker. Gets the quadra, gets the pentakill. And Holy Phoenix just cleans out the Russian forces.
Dark Passage managed to put back-to-back pentakills in the international wildcard from last year to this year. Fab did it on Kha'Zix. This year for Holy Phoenix lands it. And truthfully, when you're at a 12-2-5 Tristana going into the fight, it was just bound to happen at some point. Despite the exhaust, still manages to get the kill. And because of all the damage that Fab as well as Crystal Limit put down, it allows Naru and Holy Phoenix. I love the fact that Naru flashes into Riftwalk. D-Man, Pentakill Fairy reporting in.
So, it's just like a dream. When you're at Tristana, they're all so low, you've got an explosive shot going. A dream for them, just all clump up together. That's fantastic. I can't. You've got a Riftwalking Force Pulse coming towards you and a Tristana, and yet you still group like that. Crazy stuff. Russian forces completely caught with their pants down.
Oh, here comes Touch again.
It's going to be Touch. He's going to be the bait. Is it going to be enough? Holy Phoenix gets locked up. That's a good catch out, and they will take him down. Now can they get themselves a revenge here? Dayrun chasing on towards it. He fancies himself a pentakill, but I don't think they've got to follow through. They haven't got enough to slow him down. Touch will go down. That's a double. Can he continue through? No, he will not. And Naru waiting off the side goes and just eliminates Archie where he stands. The Baron, this is still risky play for Russian Force.
It is very risky. This is a lot of hit points on 3 members of Dark Passage, and Russian Force are going low. They're going in.
Oh, that's going to be a force pulse. Naru goes in, takes down the jungler. Now they can't smite steal this one. They're going to lock on towards him. That's a double kill for Fabulous. Dayrun gets focused on. Naru gets on towards him. One more hit should be enough. He just simply sidesteps in. Oh, Dayrun turns it around, locks him down. He's got no hit points, so this will be a Baron for Dark Passage, eventually locked down. And Holy Phoenix is alive and gets the benefit.
Summoner heal on the side of Dayrun manages to keep him alive against Naru, but unfortunately for Russian Force, another Desperation Baron. This time costs them 4 members of their team. We did see Dayrun managing to get out alive, and Dark Passage, they are the ones that actually get the buff on 4 of their 5 players. It's just like you said, D-Man, grouping up. And Naru jumps in, manages to avoid a lot of the damage thanks to another very good use of his Zhonya's Hourglass. But look at the Summoner heal from Dayrun. It gives him just enough hit points to survive the Riftwalk. If Naru had got the auto attack, I think it would have killed Dayrun, but I think he was anticipating Riftwalk to kill him, so he didn't go for the auto attack.
Yeah. Well, meanwhile, let's not forget about this man, the Pentakill man in the top there. 17-3-6, Tristana. Can't really ask for much more there. Got himself the last Whisper now. Banshee's Veil potentially going to be completed.
I'm going to, because Dark Passage could have potentially won the game already if they had not been giving enough kills. There are 45 kills in a 27-minute game, and Dark Passage have just been out of position multiple times. They've constantly putting themselves in a place like this, where Holy Phoenix and Touch get jumped on.
Again, he's been trading with Dayrun, just blows him backwards. Touch is in trouble. May well get himself one. Yes, he does. Picks out Demeka once again. Now Touch with the hook on towards Dayrun. Death Sentence isn't enough. Holy Phoenix taken down again. And Dayrun manages to trade Dayrun on towards Naru this time. Will put the damage down. In comes Crystal M. They will finally see takedown Cogmore. Will he get that one down and towards the Cathian Surprise? No, Naru is going to get picked off by 80 Remains. It's a triple kill meanwhile for Fabulous around the side there. Now chasing on towards 80 Remains. Death Sentence back available on Touch any second now as 80 Remains gets dragged in towards there. That's a quadra kill for Fabulous as he cleans up once again.
1 for 5. And yet more kills. All of this starts from Holy Phoenix and Touch actually getting jumped on after I was calling them out for being out of position. It is a trade that they would be happy with, but it is so risky. Dark Passage managed to get the support. The teleport comes in from Fab in a moment, and it just allows Dark Passage to clean up the fight and eventually win. But my word, this is one hell of a dramatic match. It's just all aggression from both teams all the time.
Need to start finding a little bit of control to go with that aggression. So, remember Baron was picked up a while ago? That's been traded back and forth now. So they've both had a Baron apiece. Inner turret was picked up by Dark Passage as we see the finishing job from Fabulous. Naru, no surprises to see us coming out of replay straight in towards an engage. It was for red buff this time around. Russian forces fighting for everything tooth and nail. They're now 14,000 gold ahead though. This game is slowly slipping out of their control.
For every single engage that we've seen from either team, it hasn't really equated into a massive amount of objective control. Yes, Dark Passage have got all of the lane towers down from the Russian force, but you know, they've aced them a couple of times and they've not been able to push the objectives super effectively. So let's see how they siege up. They do need to deal with the wave clear of Darker Ziggs, which is of course going to be difficult. But as long as they catch somebody out, it should be fairly easy.
Oh, ultimate use from Touch there. Panic once again. Naru, though, he's going to look to go around. Remember that bottom inhibitor turret took a lot of damage early on from Holy Phoenix. Will have regenerated that. But look at that. Demeka puts a good trade onto Naru. Naru himself has 15 stacks on that Meki Soul Stealer, by the way, so it is absolutely worth it right now. Look at that, though. Mark Merrill even getting involved in this one. It is an insane game. I completely agree. We're at what? 51 kills inside 30 minutes so far. Dark Passage looking for more.
Both of these teams may have watched the Alliance Millennium match from the end of Super Week a little while ago and looking to break.
That was 51 kills in 50 minutes.
Though. This is most kills.
Inside 30 minutes right now.
This is ridiculous. Oh. Right, Holy Phoenix caught once again, but he manages to get away thanks to a good lantern. But look at Dark Passage. They know they can't siege. They know the wave clear from Dark is difficult to deal with. So that's why they're going for the 1-3-1 split, and they're finally onto the inhibitor turrets.
Holy Phoenix, of course, just 1 kill away from breaking the LCS record, of course. But this isn't the LCS. This is, of course, the international wildcard. I expect that kill to come anytime soon. He will get caught out with the wave. Again, Demeka jumps on towards him, but he just pounces his way, gets the lifesteal on. He can't rejoin the fight, though. Touch going to get caught out. Demeka on towards him. Fabulous running for his life. Ruin is picking up a lot of kills. Look at this, though. They fancy it. Dark Passage going back in. And Holy Phoenix, has he gone too far? Pounces in there, gets Demeka down. There is the kill. He just jumps away from there. The rest of his team still engaging. Naru looking to go back in. Rift walk on towards them. Gets himself another. That's going to be the support of Archie going down. Holy Phoenix pounces back in there. Darker has to get away with a satchel charge and a flash. Oh, Crystal M, he's going to go down. Holy Phoenix finishes it off and cleans house once again. It is another ace for Dark Passage. This time, though, they will take an objective. They will get an inhibitor. He's now at 20 kills. 10 assists, crazy.
They may be able to take a whole lot more. They've got minions in the top, they've got minions in the bottom. The question is, what do Dark Passage fancy? Holy Phoenix was on the Nexus turret, but I think wisely peels backwards to focus on getting the super minions. I think if I were in Dark Passage's shoes, get the second in him, heal, regroup, and push that bottom lane. Allow those super minions to work for you. Now Demeka, he's chasing, he's popped his ult.
Well, he's going to pounce for it, but he goes straight into Holy Phoenix and just goes wrecked straight there. That was a little bit suicidal.
I don't know if Demeka got the menu.
I don't think he's got it at all because he's got 12 deaths.
Yeah, so, you know, somebody's dropped the ball here and not passed the memo over to Demeka. Don't fight Holy Phoenix.
Hey, buddy, this isn't solo queue, maybe?
He has got so many items. We've just seen Holy Phoenix pick himself up a Zephyr and a Guardian Angel while selling his boots. He had, I think, 4.5 grand, maybe a little more actually going into that last back. The item advantage, the gold advantage. Dark Passage are looking to secure passage to victory here, thanks to the back of Holy Phoenix.
41 kills for Dark Passage so far.
And 21 of them are on Holy Phoenix.
Can they chase down the, what was it, 92, I think it was, between Alliance and Millennium the other day. Nevertheless, Dragon will go down and gold continues to be in Dark Passage favor, of course. Super minions coming down the top and middle lane. Will cause some problems. Demeka stealths away from this one.
Manages to get away, but not going to have his ultimate.
13th death.
Not going to have his ultimate for the next fight. Dark Passage, let's see how they handle patience, because it's not something that...
Oh, wow. 2 shots on Archie there. Nearly took him out.
Yeah, Dark Passage have not been the most patient team this game, so Super Minions are not in the base of Russian Force yet, but we'll see how they handle this next siege.
Do you think these teams just took it to heart what Legacy just said in that interview? Uh-oh, Dayruin in trouble. He's going to go down. Fabulous jumps on towards him. He will get the kill. Naru takes him down a second. Darker picks up. Holy Phoenix claps one as well. It's a double, meanwhile, for the mid lane. There's the ace. It's a triple, and Naru will clean house. Holy Phoenix pounces through, and that will be the game for Dark Passage. Done in style. What a crazy game, ladies and gentlemen. Kills galore. 18 to 46 overall. And by God, these teams are bloodthirsty, that's for sure. 33 minutes and Dark Passage pick themselves up the first victory, and Holy Phoenix, the man on your screen there, breaking records for kills.
22 kills, 4 deaths, and 11 assists. With the pentakill being thrown in for good measure on day 1 at Gamescom here in the International Wildcard. That is going to be such a massive confidence boost for Dark Passage going into the rematch with Legacy, which will be next. And that's something I think they will need to draw from to overcome the defeat from earlier in the day. But you have to think Tristan is either going to get picked away or banned. Surely they're not going to allow Holy Phoenix to get his hands on that champion again.
Fantastic stuff. Crazy aggressive game overall, honestly. And we don't often see that many kills in a standard group stage game. You know, these guys are normally playing very cautious, don't want to give up the loss. But these both these teams, not just Dark Passage, Russian Force as well, went at it hammer and nail the whole way through that game.
We've got to do some math, but I'm going to go out on a limb and I'd say an average number of kills on a 4-game LCS day may not be too far away from the kills in a single game. And 46 kills to 18. It was just ridiculous in favor of Dark Passage. The moment a champion was available, just throw everything you've got at him, catch the kitchen sink, throw that as well. And basically Holy Phoenix was the one that came out on top.
Absolutely. 64 kills in 33 minutes. We'll see if we can beat that one as the next 3 matches, of course. These guys all have to play each other again, as you mentioned. It is a round robin. That's everybody played everyone right now. It's 2-0 for Legacy, 1-1 for Dark Passage, 0-2 for Russian Forces, currently residing at the bottom. Of course, the top 2 teams will go through to the best of 5 tomorrow. That's happening tomorrow morning as well, followed by the 5th place matchup. But what a fantastic couple of matches we've had so far. That's pretty much also us for casting as well.
It is for today, unless there are tiebreakers, of course.
Unless there are tiebreakers.
We will be back later.
Could be back.
But I think for Dark Passage, Holy Phoenix is the carry. It's what we said at the very beginning of the day. He picked a champion he could not carry with and struggled. He gets a champion that can scale, gets the support of his jungler, and all of a sudden Holy Phoenix, within the first 10 minutes of the game, at an Infinity Edge was 4-0-1 and double buffs from his first couple of kills. I definitely think you have to give him a champion like Corki, like Tristana, like Kog'Maw, like Jinx, like you were saying earlier on. Something that he can carry the game with.
Get excited on, of course. We did see Legacy banning out Tristana both matches as well. So maybe proving that one out. I think one thing's for sure, Joe and Deficio are going to have some fantastic matches to follow up. For now, though, let's hear what they have to say. We're going to go over to Shox and the analyst desk.
Thank you very much, D-Man. Well, Dark Passage here, definitely setting the record straight after that first game. Fantastic game of them. What did you guys make of picks and bans? On the side of Russian Force, mainly the same things, maybe just going with what they're comfortable on, knowing that they have those sub-zero combo.
Yeah, clearly Russian Force is going like pure combo picks, and we often see this with like newer teams because you just want a champion where you feel like you can perform on it and you're not nervous going into the game. So like first picking Nami clearly shows, okay, Archie wants Nami support here because normally we don't see a first pick Nami. And also Ziggs again for Darker in the mid lane. Same champion he played before. Clearly he's taking on some of the safe lane bullies just to make sure he can do okay in the laning phase, which makes sense again because there are a lot of new players who suddenly has to play together. But Dark Passage in this game, all of a sudden they were the ones to punish Russian Force again and again and again and just pick up so many kills.
Yeah, and I actually think from pick and bans, with that Kassadin being left open from bans and then coming in as a last pick, I actually think that Dark Passage were trying to get Darker to commit to going for that Kassadin there, to get away from these safer choices. We actually theorized before this event, we thought it was going to go the likes of Orianna, Ziggs, proven us right so far, but even if you then don't pick Kassadin open, then Dark Passage is like, okay, well, we didn't bait him onto it, but we now get Kassadin for free. So interesting little mind games going on, and I think we've also seen the reason this game why you banned Tristana against Dark Passage.
Absolutely, Dark Passage is getting ahead so quickly, and that Tristana getting enormously fed by the end game. I want to actually take a look at one of the replays from earlier in the game, if we can get that up on the screen. Because Russian Force, they were behind, but they still want to commit to objectives and maybe find their way back in the game.
Yeah, so they also picked up a Baron later in the game just by like rushing objectives. We can just roll it here. Fabulous is a man, I would call it a manly TP right here. It doesn't actually work out for him, so he ends up dying just very easily for Dark Force to kill him. Well, Russian Force, sorry, Dark Force is darker. But the issue here for Russian Force is they're so low already from tanking the Dragon, from taking poke from Kassadin. It's an easy cleanup. And you also see some of the solo queue aspect because up in the top lane, Shyvana sits with teleport. Wasn't used, and by the time they probably considered using the teleport, it was way too late because 1 or 2 members had already died. And it means they end up giving some early kills for Nauru on Kassadin. And of course, Holy Fields on Tristana. He was like 4-0 after the fight.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing about that teleport, he was very manly, very early on, but he actually stalled them out long enough for them to then come in and get that cleanup on them. Again, not really sure why Shyvana says, you know what, guys, I'm just going to stay in my lane. You've got this, don't worry.
Well, you mentioned solo queuing going in, and I wonder if that will be the main thing for these teams, Legacy and Dark Passage, maybe finding the balance between manning up and going in and maybe waiting a little so it's better for the team.
Of course it is. What Dark Passage did in this game was just constantly look for fights because they felt they were ahead all the time. There was no like outsmarting the enemy team. It was like, oh, you're right there, I'm just gonna jump you. Like even Holy Felix on Tristana kept jumping into the enemy team and everyone just did the same. It was like, okay, we see where the enemy is, we wanna jump, we wanna just fight because we are ahead and we know we can win these fights here. So not a lot of tactic involved, a lot of fighting.
Yeah, and I think the thing is, some teams that are maybe better on paper might be able to punish that kind of play style. The whole, you know, we're tactically not moving forward in this game, but if we just keep looking for fights, if we just get it fight after fight after fight after fight, when you're ahead, you're only going to get further ahead, and that seems to be their tactic. Just go in, hope you come out on top in the first fight, and then just keep pushing it.
Yeah, and that's absolutely an element of the playstyle of Holy Phoenix on Tristana. He just jumps in. Actually, take a look at that fantastic pentakill that he scored here. Let's get that up on the screen. Trevor Quickshot Henry casting a game, another pentakill. Amazing.
Starting to hate him a little bit, actually.
Yeah, I agree. Let's roll the clip. Let's get the penta on the screen here. First, we actually have Dark Passage being a little bit out of position, like Holy Phoenix is in the back line, away from the rest of his team, but he's just jumping Archie straight away. Nauru joins in as well, jumps onto Dayruin, and it's just a very messy team fight at first. Not really sure what's going on here. Support dead on both sides, 4 versus 4, but because now, once again, Russian Force is so low, and Kassadin is so strong at this point, he goes in, he starts to pop the Hourglass, and then Holy Felix just jumps in and completely cleans it up. So, a bit like the Dragon fight, Russian Force gets this, like an okay start to it, they get an early kill, but it takes so much damage, and then it's just easy for Dark Passage to clean up.
Yeah, Tristana is one of those champions as well, where because of the resets, you can just clean up the fights, get the pens easy. I actually really liked how they started that one as well, jumping over the back of the Dragon Pit with both Tristana and Kassadin, and they could just walk into the carries there at the back while the rest of the team just holding the tanks off. So really well done, actually, in terms of how that fight went.
But again, also just showing how aggressive the team fights are. If your AD carry is jumping to the enemy backline and like sneaking behind them and killing them, that is very different from what we normally see. It really worked out in this game.
Very different, very entertaining. And now, of course, in the next game, Legacy Esports versus Dark Passage, the rematch. One thing is for sure, they're going to brawl.
Yes, that's going to be a lot of fights.
Yeah.
Probably we're going to see Legacy take it a little bit easy in the start, because they did say they were a bit over-aggressive against Dark Passage, fell behind, but then look for like these mid-late game team fights. At least that's what I expect. I do want to see what they will do in picks and bans, though, because there's a lot of things they have to ban on red side, like Maokai, Tristana, and now, of course, Kassadin, even for Nauru. There's just 3 bans right there, and then you're kind of stuck. Italy will be open, so going to be hard for them what they're actually going to ban. But Legacy has been looking like the best team, and going into that game, should be favorites, I guess.
Yeah, best scenario here for Dark Passage to go into that game, losing out to Legacy earlier on, getting a big confidence boost, a win here against Russian Force. If they're going to beat them, this is probably the game to do it.
Yeah, so it's going to be a great matchup. Well, we need to take a quick break, but when we return, Dark Passage will face Legacy Esports once more, and Joe and Fisho will be calling the action. Stay with us.
In comes Crystal. They need the AD carry there. Demeka comes around side. Naru gets himself the kill. Can clean up now. Gets himself a second. Comes on towards Archie. Can they pounce on towards him? It will be 3. Now Dayruin focused on. He will drop as well. Our team remains going straight in. That's a triple. Will it be a quad? No, it's not going to be quite. Crystal M steals the day and will not give me a damn pentakill. It's just a quadra. About 5 minutes waiting. Jamaica gets caught down. There is the Baron picked up, and now down passage move in. One goes down. Russian forces pick themselves up